with the special guest here in the room. Do you have a wonder ready to get us started?
Oh my God,
man.
he brought notes.
I did. Well,
oh my gosh. Here
I
we
listened
go.
to Casey on the radio, and he talked about how prepared he was, so I wanted to be prepared.
Look at him go. Look, he's got a whole paper full of shit.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to just off the cuff this thing. So
Hey, if your child was in Brado's history class today, they didn't learn a damn thing. You must have borrowed some videos called "The Voyage of the
Mimi." That's what I was gonna say. Did you watch that?
What?
The Voyage of the Mimi with Ben Affleck. Did you ever seen that?
No.
Oh my God! Was that 7th grade science?
something like that. Yeah.
Our
Mr.
buddy,
Duncan.
hey, Coach Dunk is a
Shout
fan
out
of the show.
Shout out GW, man.
Gary Wayne, he's a good dude.
How many Monday mornings do we spend watching that show?
God. Mr. Duncan, are you all right?
Yeah.
You'll learn someday.
Yeah, I'm
You'll
fine.
learn. So, great education. We all turned out well.
Look at us all go.
Brado, you get to lead us off as the guest, and guest will have to wait until Friday to hear the more in-depth conversation. But just a brief introduction. Big fan of the show. You're a Raider. You're everything we love about this community. Volunteer your time.
I can't
your
take you
family.
seriously with those sunglasses.
I was wondering what was going on. With
Yeah,
that.
I don't.
Well, I don't have any rose-colored ones,
Yeah.
so I'm wearing them.
Okay.
Do you not want me to?
I mean, you do you, brother.
yeah, I don't give a damn what you think.
That's
That's what
fine.
the question. That's what the answer is for you.
Okay.
Oh.
So, Brado, what do you got for us?
Well, first of all, thanks. I'm trying real hard not to be the buddy that's trying to fit in. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
You be you, man.
Yeah. Hey.
trying not to geek out too much. You guys know how big a fan I am. And when I got the text that, hey, you want to come on? I told my wife, and she's like, just take a deep breath. It's going to be all right. And then she said, don't say anything. It's going to get you fired. I said, but it's not live. So
We're good.
Yeah,
we should be all right.
Dave's
we
got,
got
a good, real
decent
good,
editor, but this is my first time drinking on the show in a while. So
real good beeper.
So
last week, Dave.
I told myself if I ever got on here, I was going to go one or two different directions. So I wrote down two possible wonders. I didn't know I was going to be leading this off. I was going to kind of see the way it went.
We can
but,
read the room, but
that's all right. No, we
Coming
can
in
go
hot,
ahead.
coming in hot.
I'll just go with my top one. How do you handle when someone challenges what would be your passion? Quote unquote, them fighting words.
Oh,
So
boy.
this
I
comes
was
back to Dave's stance on coaching and sports.
well, and
I was just thinking.
I haven't missed an episode. So when Mace talked about when you have to tell someone they're wrong,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So for instance, Casey,
yeah,
if whatever discussion, and they said, baseball ain't it. I don't know what parameters the discussion would be, or if they went to Old Smoke here and said, hey, that George Jones, he'd go.
don't even say
He'd
it.
go get
Oh
me.
gosh.
Well, so
Yeah. So
Oh gosh, look at Dave. Take a sip, Dave. That testosterone and whatever else he's on, we don't need
So-
Dave to fight somebody.
So do you just dismiss it as you don't know what you're talking about,
right.
or do you go in a stance of saying, now let me tell you, let me correct you why you're wrong?
Right.
So how you handle it?
Just like I'll go back to what we talked about whenever I brought that up in the beginning is I think that being able to admit that you're factually wrong is a good quality to have. But I think some of the examples that you're making would also be considered opinions. Am I right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's how I
Subjective.
take it.
Very subjective.
Right. Very subjective. Okay. So I don't know. That's a tough spot because for me, I know Casey and I are obviously all in on sports. David's not. You know what I mean? So
But Dave's sport fandom is growing.
with his kids and everything like that. But
Yeah, I'm
You-
all in on my kids' sports.
yeah, but when sometimes David's made the comment before, I'm not going to a sporting event that my kids are not playing in. You know what I mean? There's just not a chance you're going to catch me there. Well, a lot of times I'm thinking, oh my God, dude, but it's such a cool atmosphere to go hang out in. And I guess for me, growing up that way, that's just what we did. So being able to convince somebody that different that's a tough spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen.
But you would go about the way of trying to, if they said whatever passion we're talking about,
Yeah.
Cardinals are not where it's at.
Yeah. Like I would say, well, I mean, whatever. I mean,
So you would more dismiss it.
I would, depending on the parameters of the statement that they made. Now, if they went and talked shit about my wife or talked shit about my kids, I'd probably knock their teeth out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, if we were just locker room talking and saying, hey,
it depends on how close they get to the tower.
Yeah, because Casey and I, like, we have this, like, he's a Cubs fan, I'm a Cardinals fan. You know what I mean? Like, that's just something that we will always disagree on. But that's the way we were raised. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that was beat into us since we were a little kid. David's, he's always neutral. You know what I mean? Like, the other night when we were watching NCAA basketball, there was nobody on TV that David would root for, but we still watched it because we're here hanging out. So like we can all agree on certain things, but when you really get into that, when you get into that front pocket, sometimes, it's easy to, you just need to back out. You know what I mean? I don't know. I guess it just depends on what it is and where you're at.
I think, first off, he would argue with Helen Keller. So that doesn't matter.
Who'd you point to?
Me. Big Mason.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Yeah.
You don't
see.
Okay.
Well, okay.
Well, because we know Helen Keller's a fraud anyway.
Okay, well, we got into here's one. Just the smokerism a few weeks or whatever episode ago that was.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, when David said you can't be arrogant and wise at the same time. You remember that one?
Yeah.
And Casey said, so you're telling me that you can't be smart and arrogant at the same time. And David said, I didn't say smart. I said wise. And the difference between smart and wise is stammering. And you didn't understand or didn't, like you wanted to argue amongst, a back and forth about and David said, well, you can either think
Let's go ahead and bring that up.
Yeah, you can either think what's right or whatever you're thinking. You know what I mean?
But I don't think you can have wisdom without a bit of arrogance.
That's 100% wrong.
I don't think so.
Because wisdom comes from it. You got to be completely self-aware of yourself. And if you're arrogant, you're putting yourself above at least one person or one thing, and you can't have the wisdom.
That's what I mean. Like we Googled the definition of arrogance and wisdom and smart. And they can't be one. Yeah, you can't. It just doesn't work at all.
I just disagree with the premise.
That's fine.
Because
that's fine.
If you
but
if
you know what I mean, like
you don't think that there's a bit of arrogance to the Dalai Lama to say that he's this wholly respected individual.
No,
that there's not. See, and I think that's where you're full of shit. Because I think if you sat down and talked to him, you would find out like when he's pontificating about his wisdom that you'd be like, he's a little bit of an arrogant motherfucker.
And there again,
that's where I think you miss you. If you look at the words in black and white, you can make that argument that you can't have one or the other. But I think if you look at it in the practicality of things, that it's not an all-encompassing statement. And I don't think that it covers everything because I think even if you have wisdom, there's a bit of arrogance there.
I think that it's all in the perception of how you're receiving what he's saying. So if you may perceive it as arrogance, but in all reality and factual normality, it's not arrogance. Does that make any sense?
But that's a subjective belief of your own.
Well, there again.
That's what it's all subjective of what you believe is arrogance and what you believe is wisdom.
Here we are.
Way over my head.
You know what I mean? Hey,
I'm trying to follow.
You opened a can of worms here, brother.
So.
But hey, yeah. I mean, if you want to come in this door and try to like pick a fight or whatever, like verbally, you better bring your dogs. You know what I'm saying?
Here's what I say. Like people that you disagree with, a lot of time, like I'll argue like just like what we had there. But like if it's something out in public, like I don't give it, like it's not worth, like it's legitimately not me worth spending the energy to have that conversation with somebody. And it just, I don't know whether it's
I guess where I was going is there one thing, mine is family. We know family connections.
Yeah.
Is there a subject, their fighting words that will get you? Like when I went at Smoke, I know George Jones, where someone could needle you, that is going to elicit maybe a good natured response, but hey, Smoke, that George Jones, he ain't worth it. And I like George Jones. I just keep going. You know what I mean? The possum,
every time you bring it up, Dave,
look at it, just takes another sip.
So is there, because I have one, and if you think about it hard, you know the angle and why I brought this up, because I was looking for a reason to go there on the show, but I thought I've got to be clever about this.
Well, I know exactly where you're going now because it just clicked.
Okay.
And he's going to roast me on my JFK thing. I know that's where.
Darn right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because
I
thought I was really drunk that show, and that's my fault because I was, or at least
you shouldn't have gone into the
JFK and you know,
waters on
like one of
Thanksgiving.
these days, Brado, you and we can fire these mics up, and we'll get Dave on board. And Casey's into history like that too, but that could be a show for another day, and we could get into the weeds, and I can get my Googler box ready to roll, and my fingers are smoking.
And
And
one beer, we can get into the weeds. Gosh, I saw a TikTok. Speaking of conspiracy,
oh, dude, about the Baron Trump.
yes,
That is insane.
the time travel.
We'll
Did
show
I
you
send
that
to
at
you?
break.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That's nutty. But no, I mean,
Do you have? Is there a subject
Honestly, I don't know if there is.
where you feel like you have to correct? Okay, so let me turn this introspective to me, right?
Okay, yeah.
If somebody came up and just for whatever reason, out of the blue, said, "Hey, you're an idiot, Oswald. He did it. He acted alone. I'm not gonna be able to not say nothing." And
There's
you're
never
like,
been an
why is this?
assassination attempt of a president that wasn't our own government. Can't be. It just
I don't
Yeah.
know. That's wild that it's not wild, but it is interesting that you
It's a quirk.
would pick
I get it.
that
I mean-
as a needle. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
That's the thing.
I
As
couldn't
a
sit
student
there
of
quiet.
history,
Yeah.
as a student of history,
Yeah.
I honestly thought you were going to go with offensive play calling, but that's me.
No, I mean, there's nobody questioning
If someone
that.
came, okay, pick your weekend when someone says, "What the hell?
What the hell were you thinking?
That
Everybody's an armchair
exactly,
quarterback.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that wouldn't get I wouldn't have to elicit a response with that.
So I
Yeah.
think
you
the
understand
thing,
what I'm asking? You guys?
100%.
Yeah,
I get it now.
okay.
So I get questioned a lot. So when I worked in a coal mine for roughly 15 years. And 15 years is a long time to be stuck in a piece of equipment amongst 60 to 80 other dudes for 12 hours. Like, and we're all talking on CB radios. The infinite amount of useless knowledge that would pour through those radio waves amongst, for that 12-hour span is insane. So I like to think that a lot of times some of the dumbest shit that you would never think that is true, or like you wouldn't know that. I don't know if it's trivia. Like, I feel like I do pretty good at trivia. I feel like I think I know a whole, or not a, I think I know something a lot about a lot.
a little about a lot.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
It didn't help us at trivia night.
Yeah, I know. Well, because but like, there's a lot of
did you
times where
drink too
people
much
are.
again?
Well, no, I
No,
didn't drink
neither
a
one of us
bit
drank.
because my foot.
You
was
can't blame it on that.
killing
These
me.
guys were miserable to be
Yeah,
with
we
that
were
time.
definitely. That was like one of the only times I've ever been a wet blanket.
He talks about me being a wet blanket all the time. He
That
ruined
night
trivia.
sucked.
for
I'm
me.
100% Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
You
I'm
are
not drinking.
You're
I'm
100%. That's
Yeah.
without a
200%.
without a joke.
Yeah.
No, but like somebody I'll say something and they're like, bullshit. What's your sources? Like that goes through me like nails. Like, and I'll say it. There's a lot of times that I'm wrong. But like when someone questions me, like, they're like, oh, no shit. You know what I mean? Like I just like you, then what is it? Like, well, okay, then if I'm wrong, then what is it? You know what I mean? Them are fighting words. You know what I mean? Like,
it's pontificating fake news.
yeah, well, that's 2 times from the Did you catch that? Pontificating. Man, we're getting into the legal jargon.
No, not at all. We're not on the clock.
I guess I really can't think anything that opinion-wise, like I'll have a debate with anybody
Oh, yeah.
about whatever, but I feel
Something
like I
that
don't
would-
honestly get too like worked up though. Like a lot of the times now, I'm not saying I won't.
That's not true. The government telling you what you can and cannot do. Do you remember when we talked
Yeah.
about the blimps? Or
Spy balloons.
the spy balloons when we talked about
Well, I
not
was
being able
going to say the government and everything, and
not being
like,
able to
I can't
be
launch
buried.
a rocket.
Yeah, or not being able to be buried on your own property,
Dave does
like
not
all those
like
things.
the rules and regulations
Yeah, I've
that
got
are.
a real problem with authority.
Yes,
So if someone would say, "Hey, Dave, I think we're
You should just
buttoned
do
up
what the
and-
government
Yeah,
says.
you wouldn't be able.
No.
You would have to respond.
Yes.
That's what I was getting.
Hey,
at.
man, I
Go
really
back
think-
to the
What are
Sons
your
of Liberty drinking whiskey, and then they dump the tea in because he sure as hell ain't going to throw the whiskey
the
away.
way the government's got us locked down, I really think that's great.
You know, I think
David's like, what?
What'd you say?
that's why sports are so big, because they needed something to capture the masses to keep everybody into something.
there we
That's the
go.
only reason why it's so big in our
Hey,
country.
Yeah.
Bunch of hillbillies took up with swords and rifles and overthrew the queen, and now they're like, "Whoa, that worked for a second, but these crazy bastards, we better tax them to death, make them go to work every day,
I love it.
spread the
I love
sickness
it.
around with chemtrails, so everybody's kids are dying." And
nice.
You did it.
Yeah,
You
I
hit
got
it.
it.
There it was.
There we
Nailed
go.
it.
Yeah.
What about you, Casey?
I honestly cannot say that there's anything that I would.
Everybody's got one. That
No.
was my point.
Yes.
I don't know. Like
We
what
can
would you-
fi- we can
what-
find it.
What do you
We can
think it
find
would
it.
be? Like what? Do you, because I've been trained to not elicit responses to things like that are personal attacks or.
It doesn't have to be personal.
Go
You
ahead,
have to-
Dave. Go ahead, Dave.
Okay.
What do you think?
I don't want to tell you now because they're ready for it,
No,
but I
well,
might drop one in somewhere, and we'll just see how it goes.
No, go ahead.
Well, no, you're prepared right now.
No,
I think I know what you're talking about.
Go ahead, Dave. Dave, please.
Well, go ahead.
No, Dave, please.
I want to drop it in while you're not prepared.
Yeah.
I think I know what he's thinking.
I don't care what it is.
Go ahead. Let him eat. Let her eat.
Was it like solar energy?
Oh no.
No, not that.
No, deeper.
Didn't you go off on that?
Oh,
on one
yeah,
show?
you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Green
Okay.
energy. Yeah.
Green energy.
Renewable.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
not completely wrong on that. I'll just say that.
But that wouldn't press your buttons. That meant you're fighting.
no, because
Okay.
my stance on the show has been
I'm waiting. I can't wait.
that
Come
I have
on.
no problem with personal use solar panels. I think you can do it. I think it's a wise thing to do.
Yeah.
I just don't think you can take our grid that's aged the way it is
Yeah.
and do it. And then these people that argue about
Yeah.
the green energy situation don't realize how you come to accumulate.
Yeah.
Said materials is not the right word. Minerals, heavy metals that you need to make these things are just as bad as what you're doing with coal. What was it? I think it was China's CO2 output last year was more than all of the developed nations together or some shit like that. Like it was one of the
I would have to question a little bit though of their population in such a tight, like China's not very big.
China's
land-wise.
population areas are not very big.
Yeah,
China's
so
a big chunk of ground.
yeah,
But they're
right.
the
But where they're
concentration
at,
of the
it's like
populace.
Is on the coast. Or
everybody
off-
lives in the same place. And it's like the back 40 over there is just to keep the
Wide open.
neighbors away.
Keep the neighbors away. Big fella, what you got?
Were we done with that?
Yeah.
You weren't going to slip one in?
No, no.
Oh,
He's
you
gonna
weren't
wait.
ready.
So I'll just put a bow on it, right?
do it.
So
Yeah.
what are them there fighting words? That was kind of what I had written down. Which, by the way, we watched Harriet today in class. We're in our Civil War unit. It's a Netflix show. Harriet, Underground Railroad.
Oh, Harriet Tubman.
It's,
Yeah, Harriet
it's a
Tubman.
banger. It's pretty good.
No shit.
I got two. So if you bring up the JFK, I'm gonna have to respond. And I'm kind of trained to hold my tongue, being a classroom teacher. I can't say
course.
everything that comes to my mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then if you would trash the Southard Raiders, I'd have to. I mean, I wouldn't be able to. Those would be my two. Then they're fighting words.
Yeah, man.
And I would be very interested to find out Casey. So maybe off air we can
Yeah.
get there.
Oh, we'll get to the bottom of it. That's for sure. David will slip one in here and there.